What's up, guys? It's Jay, MorninAfterKill, and I'm back here on my road to 30. This is a series that I do on my channel where each week we take 1 year in my life and we talk about the memories and significant events that have come to shape the person I am today. And right now, I am 29 motherfucking years old. By the time this series is done, I will be 30 motherfucking years old. And this is episode 23. And this episode, I'm actually 23 motherfucking years old. Now, we're gonna do this a little bit differently since a lot of my past episodes have been filled with, like, nostalgia and fond memories. A lot of them have some really fucked up things sprinkled in. But, this right here, this stuff that we're getting into is, very, very fresh in the back of my mind. And, usually when I do these series, I kind of write down a few notes, a couple memories, a couple events that have, really stick out from that year. But we're getting into some really deep shit. And, I want to let you guys know that it's not very easy talking about this part of my life. But, that's why this video is a little bit late. Because I have to mentally prepare myself for the next few episodes. Because, the wounds are still fresh, man. They are still fresh. So, if it sounds like I jump cut it a little bit, maybe I got a little bit choked up, it's possible that I could have. So, it's hard to sound enthusiastic while doing this video because, the next couple ones are gonna be, like I said, very, very rough. It's gonna deal around, with my fiance and her untimely, passing from, being with me. She died. We're gonna get into that. So, basically, last episode, I talked about, I was with Daisy, we were hanging out, we weren't exclusive, but we were kind of fucking around, having a good time, while I was trying to find a new job. And I actually did find a new job. While I was with Daisy, I went to, Sears, which has an auto center, and I was like, hey, is there any job openings here and there? And the girl at the counter was like, why don't you come back on Thursday? The manager will be here. We could set you up with an interview. I did that 3 times over, like, 2 weeks, and the manager was never there. And I was like, God damn, this is pretty fucking fishy. So I actually went up into the store, and I applied for, the job through the human resources office, because I felt the people down at the auto shop might have been jerking me around just a little bit. So anyway, I end up getting an interview with the actual manager of the store, and I end up getting that job, which is good because at this point, I'm living on my buddy's living room floor still since I got evicted from my apartment, and I have a 1973 Beetle, which, I mean, if it wasn't for my buddy letting me live on his floor, I would have had to live in a Beetle, and that would have, nobody wants to live in a 70, check this out, that Beetle was so bad, it had no power steering, no air conditioner, it had manual brakes, 4-wheel drums all around, and it had manual fucking, clutch, not a hydraulic clutch. I mean, this clutch, you literally had to put some leg muscle into to get it to shift and everything, and, that was, a really shitty car to have at the time. So, I end up getting this job at Sears, and the girl behind the, counter that was jerking me around, I actually start, I started checking her out. She's pretty fucking cute. And I told you that day that Daisy, she bit my shoulder all up. There was this one time that I was working at Sears, and the girl that was jerking me around at the counter, she came up, she put her hand on my shoulder, and I was like, she's like, what happened? I was like, oh, nothing, I have a bruised shoulder and everything. And then she started rubbing it, and getting in there nice and deep and it felt real good, Turns out, the girl actually took a few massage courses while she was inside of, college and everything, which was, really fucking awesome. If you meet a girl that knows how to work her hands like that, trust me, you're gonna be like, this is fucking awesome. So anyway, that girl, she was like, hey, do you need a ride home? And I was like, look, I don't live too far. I got my Beetle. She's like, look, you want to come over to my house after work? And she knew that I smoked a little bit of weed. And she's like, look, I have a medicinal marijuana card. I have all this good-ass weed at my house. Why don't you come over? We'll hang out, fucking smoke, and have a few beers. And she was like, alright, that's pretty cool. So, we started hanging out, and it was pretty cool because I was just chilling at her house. I was smoking, and the first thing I noticed when I walked into her room was she had, this wrought iron bed with like the canopy of lace and everything, and I was like, man, I know you're a manager at my job, and I shouldn't be saying this, but that is quite possibly one of the sexiest beds I've ever seen in my life. And she was like, oh, you know, flirting a little bit. She blushed a little bit. And, you know, we got to know each other over the next couple weeks. It was like right around Christmas time. I told you I was still hanging out with Daisy at this time, but I was also hanging out with this girl, getting to know her. Every fucking night I would go over her house, you know, for like about a week and a half. We'd smoke a little bit, you know, we'd talk. And I noticed that she was actually from the East Coast like I was. She was a transplant. And she went through her backstory. You know, she had a kid at this point, and she didn't really divulge much about it. But she had a little Asian kid, which is kind of cute, because when you have a little Asian kid running around the house, I don't know why, it's just fucking adorable. So, anyway, I find out that she has pretty much the same upbringing that I do. She's from the hood, you know, the other side of the train tracks. She knows what it's like to be emotionally abandoned from her family, and that's why she's out there. You know, she's living on her own, and her roommate was her best friend that, you know, her best friend got caught up in a little bit of drugs. I think it was, yeah, she got caught up in heroin out in California, and then she went to rehab, and then she needed somebody to keep an eye on her. So, her and her best friend, they kind of moved in together with her kid. They had like this whole setup there, and it was pretty chill. And then it was like right around, right after I fucked Daisy on the carousel at the fucking park. It was, Daisy wanted to go out and hang out for, you know, she wanted to go out for, New Year's. She wanted to hang out, go to parties, and like all these clubs and shit. And, Daisy, like I said, Daisy was, oh my god, she was fucking gorgeous, fat ass, fucking big titties, everything, and she was real young. She was like 18, 19, so, you know, she was in that partying stage of her life, where I actually was, you know, still in that swing of my life. And then, you know, you had this other girl that was my manager at Sears, and, you know, she had a 4 or 5 year old kid, which was right around, you know, age of my own son at this time. And she also, you know, she was from the hood like me. She was from the East Coast. She knows what it's like to be in some of the situations that I've been in. We've really connected. And, you know, I had a choice at this point in my life, is to, you know, go with the reckless abandon and hang out with the young fucking, you know, partying mamacita fucking Spanish girl with the pussy of gold. I'm sorry. Or go hang out with this girl who I've connected, you know, on an emotional bond with. And this is what happened, was I ended up telling Daisy that I can't hang out with her no more, and I ended up asking the other girl out, and we went to hang out on New Year's. So this is the first time that I'm actually hanging out with this girl, and it's gonna be in a romantic setting, because we were just hanging out as friends, getting to know each other. Although there was a connection there, we just haven't made that move yet. And that move is gonna happen tonight. We would end up going out to the Elephant Bar and Grill in San Jose, California, and I had steak with, I don't know why I remember this, but it was the biggest, ugliest steak you've ever seen in your life. Like, it literally looked like it was put through a fucking steamroller, like a steamroller rolled over this flat ass fucking steak, and this giant pile of glazed baby shredded carrots. It was like the most disgusting thing ever. I didn't end up actually eating it. I just fucking, you know, picked around a little bit, and she was like, oh my god, why don't you eat a little bit? I'm like, look, you know, kind of not satisfied with it, but I don't want to be a dick, so I'm just gonna let it go, and then we're gonna fucking take this and take it home and either fucking feed it to the birds or throw it in the goddamn garbage. She's like, alright, it's kind of cool, you know, I thought you would have actually sent it back. And I was like, no, hell no, you don't want to send this shit back, because if you send this shit back, they will spit on your motherfucking food. Trust me, I've worked in restaurants, and I've seen some of the shit that these people have done just at fast food places. So you know, in a kitchen, like a fucking real restaurant, where nobody sees what's going on, you can guarantee that somebody is gonna get their fucking food spit in. So, anyway, we ended up having a really good night. And since we dropped off her kid at her brother's house, it was the first time that we were able to hang out 100% alone in her house. And, we hooked up. We hooked up, and it was, it was really really fucking awesome, which is, I don't know why I remember this either, but we didn't end up getting any sleep at all. We were up all night. Yeah, we were up all night long until like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I actually had off of work the next day, and so did she because, you know, the auto shop was closed. So, she ended up having to go run some motherfucking errands, and I ended up running with her, and we pretty much spent the whole day there, and, I never left her house. I know. I spent that night, and that is literally the last night that I remember spending without her. I remember it was so, we were together so often that a month after that I was gone, my buddy fucking called me on my cell phone. He's like, yo, you still have like your lamp and your little desk here in the corner of the fucking living room? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you still living here? You gonna fucking keep this shit here? What's going on? And I was like, you know what? And I fucking talked it over with the girl, and she's like, yeah, just bring your shit here. You might as well. So, after about 2 weeks of knowing this girl, I mean, we hit it off so well because we were two broken pieces of a puzzle, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we both had some really fucked up, shattered lives, and we connected really well together. So, we just ended up spending the next 2 years together. That's, pretty much what ended up happening is, you know, her birthday came up, and we ended up throwing a party, and since she did have a medical marijuana license, which meant that we were able to go into the fucking stores and buy marijuana, we had a party like you'd never fucking seen it because, you know, her kid was there. We used to drop the kid off at her brother's whenever shit like this would go on, and her brother would watch it. It was no big deal. That was actually, like, fucking no questions asked. Her brother was damn cool with that shit. So, you know, we ended up throwing a party. We had, like, bongs and bowls lined up on the table as far as the eye could see. And then we had this, oh my god, check this out. We had a big ass fucking tin of fresh pop brownies. Now, I don't know if you've ever ate pop brownies made with medical grade pop butter, but you only need like one and a half brownies, and you're gonna be out for like the next 3-4 hours. You need to plan to not have to do anything. So we're all there fucking smoking, partying, and then we all have a brownie, and my buddy Mike is looking at the fucking pan. He's like, dude, those brownies were fucking good. How come nobody's eating anymore? He's like, can I have some more brownies? He's like, yeah. This motherfucker ate 5 more brownies. I shit you not. He ate a total of 6 pop brownies that night. So we ended up putting on Harold and Kumar on the TV that we were, you know, all partying. There's a big TV in the living room and everything. And one of my buddies who's never seen Harold and Kumar before, and he's never smoked pot or anything before, and he ate a brownie too. He didn't know there's anything in there. I shit you not, my buddy Lawrence was just sitting there laughing like a robot. He was going, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. The entire time for like 2 hours straight, just sat on the fucking couch straight laughing his ass off. My buddy Mike is over there. He's fucking rolling his ass off some fucking pop brownies. And I, like the asshole I am, you know, I'm like, oh man, you know, I gotta get fucked up too. I end up drinking an entire fucking, I'm pretty sure it was like a 5th. It was a goddamn handle of fucking Captain Morgan's, you know, the big fucking jugs. I ended up slamming an entire one of them, and me and the girl had plans to go out to a hotel and hang out. You know, the hotel had like fucking hot tub and jacuzzi and all that shit, and fucking we ended up having to go, and she ended up having to drive, which is kind of fucked up because it was her birthday party, and I ended up getting so fucked up that she had to drive all the way to the goddamn fucking hotel. But it was alright because we had a real nice night. Fucking 5-star hotel. I don't know if it was 5-star, but it was really fucking nice. It was a Marriott, all the way up in San Jose. I'm pretty sure it was a Marriott, actually. I'm not sure. I can't remember the whole fucking night is fuzzy. But I swear to God, like, we had all these munchies. We had, like, fucking chocolate water fountain. You ever see those chocolate water fountains? We had one of them going, except we thought it was gonna be funny. We had some of this Godiva liqueur, and we fucking tossed some of that shit in there to spike the fucking chocolate, get people all fucked up from fucking eating the chocolate, right? No! Wrong. You cannot do that, because then the chocolate gets too thick and it starts to seize up and it becomes a nasty mess of nasty burnt fucking chocolate. You do not want to fucking do that. It is gross, and it takes probably about 2 to 3 hours to clean out to get regular chocolate back in there, melted and running again. And that's exactly what happened that night. But I was so enamored with this girl. I mean, I went out, I spent my paycheck, I bought her like 4 or 5 gifts. I even bought her this really awesome fucking, marijuana bong pipe that was custom made, triple Pyrex. It had a nice big bubbler, it had the big flower on the side, big glass prism, real nice Sherlock design. Oh man, trust me, I will put up a picture on screen right now of the birthday bowl. That's what we ended up calling it. It was the birthday bowl. I put that on screen because that shit was hot. That shit cost $300 to make, and I've never felt like this about any fucking woman in my life. Now, I told you, the girl that I lost my virginity to, like, I really, really loved her. I did not have those type of feelings for this girl. My feelings were about 10 times stronger. I've never felt anything like it before. And we were together for quite a while, like 3-4 months. And then one day, her daughter broke a glass in the kitchen. Now, this wouldn't have been so bad, but the girl had, I guess she had like some type of juvenile onset diabetes. It was diabetes type 2, type X. I don't fucking really remember the schematics of it, but she had to take a shot of insulin every fucking day to make sure that her blood sugar stays regulated. That way she doesn't go into any type of shock or ketoacidosis. This is real shit, like real life, man. You can't fuck around with that shit. You gotta take care of yourself. So anyway, she ended up having to fucking go to the hospital because she had a piece of glass in her foot, and she didn't feel it because she had what was called like diabetic neuropathy, which means she didn't feel the bottom of her feet, or sometimes her hands would feel like they're fucking asleep, like they're all tingly and numb. She used to actually have to take some fucking medication for that. But we ended up having to take her to the hospital, and they had to start doing, like, I was really just joking around. I thought everything was gonna be fine, because everybody just goes to the hospital and they tell you, oh yeah, here's your antibiotics, send your ass home, give you a fucking prescription Percocet, and that's pretty much all the fucking hospital experiences I've had in my life. Is they're just like, oh well, here's a bunch of painkillers, get the fuck out of here. Well, turns out she actually had an infection on her foot where the piece of glass got stuck right into the bottom of it, and they ended up having to scoop out very large, copious amounts of flesh from the bottom of her foot. Like, I'm not even lying, it literally looked like somebody took a melon baller and just right underneath where the big toe was, just scooped out that whole area of meat. And it was quite gross to look at, and I had a real tough decision to make. And even to this day, one of my buddies, Mike, he was like, dude, I can't believe you actually made the choice that you did, because the old me would have went running for the hills. I ran from problems. That's the reason why I'm in California, is that I used to run from my problems. And at that point, I did some real soul searching, and I told myself, I was like, man, you can't, we're out of coast. We're on the other side of, like, America, There's nowhere else that you could run. Stop running for people that are trying to be with you, that are trying to care about you, that are trying to love you. And, step up, be a fucking man, and take care of business. And that's what I did. I ended up staying with her, and she couldn't really get around very often, so I ended up helping her take care of her kid, taking her kid to school. She couldn't work, so she got disability, and I ended up taking over the bills in the house as the primary breadwinner. I was going to work. I was working like 50, 60 hours a week, overtime. I was helping paying a little bit of bills. And then at that point, it was right around like, I don't know, about 6-7 months into our relationship where we really hit a big wall. Is because I told her it was either her best friend, who her roommate was, or it was me. Because her roommate, she started bringing in all these heroin addicts into the house, and she was back on the shit. And I was like, look, I'm paying bills here, I'm living here, taking care of you, I'm taking care of your child. we need to get a new fucking roommate in here, because you cannot have a heroin addict around a 5-year-old child. It is a very, very bad situation for a child. And it ended up coming on that night. We ended up getting into a fight, and she told me to leave. I grabbed my shit into my fucking car, and at that point, I've already sold the Beetle. I flipped the Beetle, actually. I didn't get to mention that, but I sold the Beetle. I bought a car that was a little bit bigger, a little bit more kid-friendly, which was a supercharged Thunderbird. Right? I know. It was a V6 Thunderbird, supercharged, 5-speed, it had a sunroof, really awesome fucking car, and it did donuts like a motherfucker too. So anyway, that's enough about the car. We ended up having a huge blow up, and she told me to get my shit, get the fuck out. So I grabbed my shit, I packed it inside of my fucking Thunderbird, and I drove the fuck out of there. I actually came back later that night because I wanted my weed. I was like, man, I gotta smoke some weed, I gotta fucking calm down. And I started knocking at the door. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, man, if you're gonna kick me out, give me my motherfucking weed. And they wouldn't give it to me and shit like that. Neighbor actually ended up calling the cops. And the cops were like, look, you know, I know you're steamed. I know you're mad. We just get the fuck out of here and come back in the morning and talk it out. And I did just that, you know. I went home. I went to my buddy's Mike's. He wasn't home. So I ended up spending that night in the back seat of my Thunderbird, which was not very comfortable. I mean, it was like a backseat of a Mustang. It was a fucking bench seat that was very hard and very not suitable for laying down. So I slept in my car for like 4 or 5 hours, and I ended up going back to her house very early in the morning, and then we ended up talking it out, and I told her, you know, I laid out everything. I was like, look, you know, she's back on the junk. You gotta get her the fuck out of the house, you know, blah, blah, blah. I can't sit here and stand by and watch the woman I love get walked on. And she was like, wait, what? Exactly. I let it slip. I told her that I loved her by accident, and she returned the favor. She told me that she loved me as well. And I think a lot of the frustration was from the fact that we were together in this tough situation, and you know, the L-bomb hasn't been dropped yet. It didn't seem that important at the time because we were already spending every single fucking minute together, and I let it slip. I let the L-bomb slip. She returned the favor, and probably about 2 months later, her roommate drops the bomb. She's like, look, I'm gonna be leaving. We're going, her and 2 of her fucking smackhead friends were like, we're gonna drive across the country and go live in a trailer park in North Carolina. And I was like, okay, get the fuck out. And they were getting all ready, they were packing, and then one day they fucking left, and they left the door open, and right there in plain view, on their fucking table, I saw there's like 4 or 5 balloonies of fucking Hayron, some fucking black tar heroin. I went in there, and I swiped that shit up. I went over there, I was like, boo! I told you this bitch was back on the shit. And she gave me permission at that point. She was like, look, I want you to flush that shit. And I was like, hell no! I'm gonna sell this shit. And she was like, no, because if they come back, they call the cops, we're in possession of heroin, she goes to jail, I go to jail, and her kid goes into fucking protective custody, which is not something that I was gonna let happen at that point. So I took the fucking heroin, and I tossed that shit in the toilet, I flushed that goddamn motherfucking toilet, and then they came walking in, and fucking her fucking friend, her roommate's friend, fucking her boyfriend, fucking was like, he came at me, he started popping shit, he's like, where's the heroin? And I was like, bitch, I flushed that shit down the toilet. And he was like, you ain't done shit like that. He's like, you know how I know? I was like, why? He's like, because if you did, I would have been fighting you already. I was like, well, bitch, you need to start fucking fighting then. This motherfucker lunged at me. I swear to God, I grabbed this pussy by his fucking throat and threw him through the front fucking screen door. He went tumbling out, started kicking him in his back, and started beating the shit out of him. And then fucking, he comes back, he stands up and grabs his fucking little fucking cane pole that he had in his wood outside leaning up against the wall, and he fucking swings that shit at me. I grabbed my bat. I told you I keep a bat next to my fucking door at all times. If you want to see my door bat, you could look up my 50th video special and you'll see that I keep a bat next to my door at all fucking times. I grabbed my door bat, I picked that shit up, and I was like, dude, if you take one more fucking step, I am gonna crack your skull open so fucking bad. It's gonna look like snails on the goddamn concrete, bitch. And he went running away back to fucking his little smackhead girlfriend around the corner. They ended up calling the cops. I told the cops, like, look, we ended up just fucking kicking them out. You know, look at them. They're junkies. They fucking do smack. You can just look at them and tell them that these are the type of fucking scumbags that do fucking shoot up. And they got track marks all over. Like, these were the type of scumbags that were fucking rocking track marks. They weren't even nice enough to go fucking put that shit between their toes. No, they were just rocking track marks out in the open, which is absolutely fucking disgusting. The cops looked at him, and the cops were like, look, if you fucking assholes don't get away from here, you know, blah, blah, blah. So what ended up happening is we needed a roommate to fill that second room. And, this isn't as funny as it really should be, but her dad was married to some Mexican bitch, right? That, like, he got remarried later on in life and shit to some Mexican bitch. Now, her dad was known for fucking frequenting prostitutes on the internet. And one of the, one of his quote-unquote girlfriends, needed a place to stay and was willing to pay more than the other roommate smackhead junkie was doing, which means that would have cut our fucking prices in half, and we would have been paying half the rent of what we were actually paying now, which was more like 2/3, almost to the full amount of rent, because, you know, the junkie smackhead was always late on her motherfucking rent. So now we've gone from having a smackhead roommate that never pays the motherfucking bills to her fucking dad's mistress girlfriend who looked like a used up old fucking hippie from the 60s that didn't realize that she should stop sucking dick for some motherfucking money. So, be it as it may, she actually still was a really cool chick who had her shit together. She couldn't find a job, and she decided that, you know, banging old, ugly dudes that have money is, you know, the best way to put it. I mean, she wasn't like a legitimate fucking street whore, but she was a fucking leech. She was a gold digger. She was looking for any guy who would fuck any guy that could get her what she wanted to be, an apartment, a car. Fucking, you know the type of bitches that I'm talking about. So, anyway, I started talking it over with my girlfriend. I was like, look, it can't just be me, you, and the fucking whore. We need to get our own place. We need to get the fuck out of here. And, you know, we started saving a little bit of money, started looking around, and I think the biggest thing was right around summer. I ended up losing my job because, we went in to go pick up our paychecks, and, by that time, you know, after, you know, 7-8 months of us, about 8 months of us being together, people at our work started catching on that we were together, we showed up together, we lived together, changed my address to her fucking address in the goddamn payroll system, so my check that fucking gets mailed out, fucking, yeah, I don't know why they fucking mailed out, checks like that, but, I used to get my regular hourly check from the office at the, Sears, and then they would mail out my commission check once a month, which was fucking weird. I don't know why they actually did it like that, but I think that actually comes from, you know, the home office of Sears actually sending out the payment instead of the actual, you know, store doing it. I'm not sure, but it was actually a really fucked up system. So, anyway, we ended up walking in there and showing her she had to do some fucking paperwork for her being on fucking disability because of her foot being all fucked up. And, yeah, that's when the fucking boss started popping mad shit to me, started, like, joking around, and I wasn't one to be joked around with when it comes to somebody that I actually legitimately love, and I turned around, and something in the back of my head snapped, and I threw a fucking punch at the manager, and, he ended up firing us both. He ended up firing me, and then when, you know, they cut her hours down, they were like, when you come back from your disability, blah, 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 you know, you're basically going to be put down to part-time, and, you know, she can't live off part-time, which means she has to find a new job. It's basically them cutting your hours so you quit, so they can't get in trouble for firing. That's what exactly happened. So, we were like, man, we need to get the fuck out of here, and, right around that time, the apartment complex, I shit you not, the apartment complex, the whole fucking Transformers blew in the area, and it was about to take like 4 or 5 days until they can get our air conditioner back on. Now, if you know anybody that has an open wound on their foot, you know, it's susceptible to bacteria. You need to be kept in a nice, cool environment, and we couldn't have that. So what we ended up doing was taking some of the money that we ended up saving up for moving, and we took a vacation to Reno. I know that's not the smartest thing to do, but you know what? It was a really good thing. We ended up hanging out in Reno for about 7 days, which, I mean, it was pretty cool because on the way there, you know, the car started acting up. I mean, but it was no big deal. It was just the brakes and a little bit of you know, an axle problem. And we ended up actually having the brakes fixed inside of Reno because I didn't have any of my tools with me. But you know what? We ended up getting like 2 or 3 days comp from the hotel at Reno. They felt bad about her foot being wheeled around and shit. And they were like, you know what? Let us hook you up. They comped us for like 3 extra days. It was really awesome. I ended up winning some money on blackjack too. I walked away. We went there with about like $400 or $500 in gambling money, which is not, that's outside of the actual spending money. But we ended up walking back with like probably like $1,200-$1,500 at that point, which is funny because the first slot that I ever played in my life, it was like this little lobster machine. There's like lobsters and video games, and there's like fishes on there. I don't know what happened. I was like, yeah, I won a little bit of money. And then when I printed out the ticket, I realized I was playing a 25-cent machine. So all those credits, I ended up having like $300 off a $5 take on that fucking little machine. So that was actually pretty cool. So after we got back from Reno, everything was cool, and we had a little bit of extra money now, and we did have some money saved up, and even her dad was willing to help us. We found this awesome house out in a little town in the middle of nowhere called Merced. Now, if you've ever been to Merced, Merced is basically just like, it's like an old 40s and 50s style town spat in the middle of the desert. It wasn't like where we were in the Bay Area. I mean, it got really fucking hot there, but it was also really nice weather, barely fucking rain, and we ended up finding a nice little 3-bedroom house with a 2-car garage, front yard, backyard, big oak tree in the goddamn fucking middle of the goddamn yard, for shade in the front. I mean, this was pretty much, and it was on a cul-de-sac. It was on a cul-de-sac. So, we ended up going ahead and putting a down payment on that, and well, we didn't buy it, but you know, we went, put the fucking security deposit down, first month's and second month's rent, shit like that. You guys know exactly how you gotta do it. You gotta sign all these fucking papers, tell them, yeah, blah, 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 yakety smack. So, in the middle of fucking nowhere, we ended up moving, and my buddy was like, dude, you're gonna hate it out there, blah, blah, blah. But, you know what? After 1 year of being in California, I had my entire fun with my friends. We went out smoking, partying, drinking, and, you know, I was hanging out with Daisy at the end of that year. But this year, I ended up growing up, and I ended up just having a family out of nowhere, you know? It was me, this girl, and her 5-year-old kid. And by this time, her fucking foot was actually all healed up. Everything was actually good with it. She couldn't get around very well still. She still had a little bit of a limp because the bottom of her foot had a big fucking hole in it still. So she actually ended up having to fucking, they needed to do some grass for skins, and later on they're gonna have to put some of the fucking flesh in there. That's exactly how they explained it to me. But, you know, basically she had a hole in her motherfucking foot. And, you know, just looking back on it, this is the year that I grew up. This is the year where instead of running from my problems, I faced them head on, and I was rewarded. I was rewarded by having a woman who loved me unconditionally, and I've never had a feeling like that in my entire life, that we were on this level of just wanting to be with each other every single moment of the day. And the fact that she had a little adorable kid that I loved to fucking death, and it made me feel a little bit closer to my son, even though he wasn't there. I was doing the best I could to take care of the people that were actually there for me and that wanted to love me. And man, I mean, I wish I could say that I was with my son at this time in life. I really, really do. Like, I wish there was there's some way that me and his mother felt that fucking connection, but that never happened. I mean, we were just friends that ended up, you know, having a kid, and that's that's all right. That's fine because later on we're gonna both mature, realize that we have a fucking son. We got to put our differences together, but we just couldn't live together. We just couldn't live together, and at this point, man, I mean, this girl saved my fucking life, man. She taught me what it's like to grow the fuck up and stop running from your problems. And I mean, I wish I had more for this, but I mean, I just can't tell you exactly how you feel that emotional connection with somebody, because it's just there, man. It really is. And I wish I could say that this is the end of the story, that me and this girl has been together, ever since. We've both watched her fucking kid grow old, and, my kid grow old, and we have a family together, but it didn't end up happening like that. I don't know if I should, but if you guys want to see the next part of this story, I'm gonna end up, maybe I'll re-upload it, I don't know. I made a video before telling you guys why it's a bad day, and that's really the episode that really had me, it gave me the courage after you guys showed me all that support on that video to make this series. So if you think I should re-upload that video, I will. If you want, you can find it in my Road to 30 logs here. You can find it inside my actual playlist, but I don't know what I'm gonna do for next week, though. Next week is gonna be a real rough week. So in closing, I mean, this was a really good year. I met a woman, and I put all the fucking bullshit aside, stepped up, became a man, and if it wasn't for me being there for her, she would have had to go back and live with her family, who she has the same feelings for her family as they do for me, because her family wasn't there for her the way that my family wasn't there for me. And two broken people coming together, making a whole. And I know it sounds fucking real corny and real stupid, but that's exactly what it was. And I was like, man, I know what it's like to have to crawl back to your family and ask for help, especially when they don't want to help you. And I couldn't let her go down like that. I just, man, I see too much of myself in her to go and let her give up on her like that. And that's the God's honest truth. So my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you could leave a thumbs up on this video, I would highly appreciate it, because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. This was episode 23 of my Road to 30. And this shit is all too fresh. And it's all too real. And it does. The wounds are still fresh. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to see you guys later.